And here we go. We are live. We are here with Coffee Merc. We are going to be doing some... We're going to be doing some D&D 5th edition homebrew. Whatever my thoughts are on D&D 5th edition, it is ripe for homebrewing and being able to do basically whatever the hell you want with it. Because it has enough design to be able to kind of monkey with whatever you like. I have a GM binder file already prepped. This is my personal preferred homebrewing engine, question mark? I don't know if that would be an accurate term.
Platform?
A platform? Yeah, platform would work. GM binder is pretty cool. It's very similar to that homebrewery that a lot of people from that naturalcrit.com, I think it's called. But it has everything that you need. It works well in Chrome. It is good for Chromium-based browsers. It is not that good for things like Firefox. So if you are viewing these files after I post them in Firefox, that's the reason why. You're going to want to run something like Vivaldi is quite good. I really like Vivaldi. But personally, I like Chrome because I have the power in my machine to run it without the gobbling of RAM interrupting my affairs. Ah, I see a reptile in chat. We have a recognizable face made of face.
Hello, reptile.
Ahoy, ahoy. So let's talk a bit. Let's go over who Malzahar is. So the description that he's given is that he's a zealous seer, which is interesting. We'll come back to that. Dedicated to the unification of all life. Malzahar truly believes the newly emergent void to be the path to Runeterra's salvation. Runeterra being the setting of League of Legends. In the desert wastes of Shurima, he's followed voices that whispered in his mind, all the way to ancient ... And then the story continues if you want to read more. Go to the official League of Legends website if you want to read. There's all sorts of crazy like stories and lore and things that are written about the champions now. Riot finally started taking the lore seriously.
And you know what? I really appreciate that because back in the day, it was like nothing. There was nothing really there.
It's true.
And that's one of the things that originally turned me off of League of Legends. It's why after like a couple months of it coming out, I just didn't play anymore.
Interesting. Okay.
I need that something else. Just the competitive gameplay isn't my deal. It's not my thing.
Yeah, the investment in the characters. Like, I really like Rel. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to do her as a homebrew when we did her. Rel is a super cool character. Same with characters like Sejuani, Ashe. Thanks to the Arcane series, Caitlyn and Jinx are now more than just girls with guns. You know, the cop and the crazy one. I'm very much looking forward to Season 2. I'm probably going to revisit Season 1 just to re-up myself, and because it's just a goddamn good series.
We should do that together. Do a watch party in the server sometime.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd love that. It's a fantastic show. I think I binged it with my partner at the time. We watched the entire series all the way through. We had she brought her fondue machine, so we had like marshmallows and chocolate and stuff. We bought junk food and energy drinks and stuff. It was great. So one of the things that I mentioned right at the top was he's a seer. Now, interestingly, in the video game, he doesn't do very seer-like things. There is no seeing the future. There's no kind of predictive abilities. So that's what I want to kind of explore with this homebrew, following the MCDM design principle of action-oriented design, where a boss monster, which this would be a boss monster, someone like Caitlyn or Jinx wouldn't fight you alone. They would fight you with allies. Malzahar already has allies. You can see these little greeblies down here, voidlings. That, I think, is what a lot of the core of this stat block is going to be built around, is summoning minions every round and just churning out these little voidlings, making him less like he is in the video game and more like he is in the lore.
What was the other minion controlling one that we did? That was
Shaco?
Yeah, Shaco.
Shaco was fun to make.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he's not really like a minion creature, his whole Jack in the Box thing, I really enjoyed how we brought that together as a core piece of his design, as a core part of his kit to do all sorts of crazy stuff. Like summoning, I think it was like mephits and stuff that pop out of his Jack in the Box.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, people don't use mephits enough. There's like 10 different kinds. There's so many different kinds of mephits. There's like dust, mud, magma, ash, crazy amount of them. Mud mephits are awful. I hate mud mephits. Just slow you down, you can't move anymore, you're all gooped up. So I kind of want to give him an ability that does tap into the fact that he's a seer. Like, look at his forehead. He's got, like, this weird eye thing sticking out of his head. So I feel like giving him an ability where he can kind of predict something. I quite like one of the things from some Dragon or Dungeon magazine, where it talked about genius level intelligence and how do you accurately reflect that in a game mechanic. And the suggestion was that the party says to you, the GM, this is what we're going to do on our turn, on the first round of combat. And they have to abide by that. And you, playing this hyper-intelligent villain, gets to go into the first round of combat with that information, so they can react to it. So I wonder if we could make something like that happen, where he can see just like a glimpse into the future. And maybe that could be just reflected by, I don't know, giving him advantage against like one specific enemy, but I feel like that's kind of boring, because everything gives you advantage in D&D 5th edition.
Yeah, it is a little boring. I like pretty much verbatim what you said before.
Yeah.
The whole idea of the players having to basically telegraph their moves.
Mm.
And going with the theme of the naming theme of the abilities, you could call it like gaze into the void.
Yes, absolutely. Which is actually quite close, however, to his first ability, Call of the Void. But we can monkey with that however we want. So already I'm thinking perhaps as one of his legendary actions, if we want to use that. I don't want to use legendary resistances. I think that's very boring. Where he can pick a hero that he's fighting once per round at the start of his turn. And that player, that character, he just knows what they're going to do. One specific person. Because this guy is not a world-ending threat. He is a catalyst for the world-ending threat, that being Belveth, who we may visit in a future stream. So, let's jump in and fill out the really basic stuff. We've got Malzahar, Prophet of the Void. He's medium because he's a dude. He is a medium humanoid. Alignment, I think he's a chaotic... I hesitate to say chaotic evil, but he is certainly doing evil things, so we might go with it just for now. Because the Void is villainous and antagonistic, but I'm not sure about evil. It certainly wouldn't see itself as evil. Your evil is my good, as a Doctor Who villain once said.
Right. But I mean, what evil does see itself as evil?
That's
like,
right.
Anyone that we perceive as evil had their reasons, their justifications.
Yeah. Abhorrent as they may be, they to themselves. So, what kind of caster is Malzahar going to be?
Well, let me take a look here.
Personally, I lean towards perhaps charisma, especially since his abilities are like forcing creatures from the void to serve him, which is a
I
very
like that.
warlock thing to do.
Yeah. I think Charisma Caster definitely fits this guy.
Charisma. So he's going to have a fairly high charisma. Let me pull up our handy dandy guide of the suggested hit dice and things like that.
I'm looking at some of the skins right now just to get kind of a vibe for this guy,
They're
because
very
I'd never
cool.
played a game. And the Shadow Prince Malzahar. Oh my goodness.
It's cool, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
It's one of the older ones, one of the much older ones. But I really like a lot of his skins. His Battle Boss Malzahar is very cool in game. It's all geometric blocks and things. Very, very retro.
World Breaker.
World Breaker is cool. I like the World Breaker Malzahar. 3 Honors is pretty cool. That's one that you could get for having achieved like high honor, which is basically not being a dick in game, which I achieved pretty quickly. Empyrean Malzahar, that's new. This is a new one. I haven't seen this one because I stopped playing it a little while ago. So I've not been keeping up. Bizahar is just hilarious. I love the comedy skins that they go for. Debonair is neat. I quite like that. They did like Debonair, Zed, Brand, Leona, LeBlanc, Malzahar, where it's all these sort of alternate realities of them. Like, what if he's a crime boss with magical powers?
Okay.
But yeah, Overlord Malzahar is kind of neat. I used that for a long time. But of course, we are mostly focusing on the core look of him. This is the revised art. The original art for him was very, maybe don't go and look at that if you don't want your eyes to hurt. No shade on the original artist, but the updated art for all of the creatures and champions, Riot has done a great job of getting some really good artists in. So CR, how strong are we going to make him?
Well, before we talk about how strong we're going to make him, how strong is the overall encounter going to be? Because if he is a minion mancer, you really have to account for those minions, even though it's mostly just draining action economy.
It's true.
It still matters as far as like encounter balance, if that is even a thing in 5th edition.
Well, once player characters get strong enough, that kind of goes out the window.
So, given like his lore here, right? I would say he's a major threat. Might even be like BBEG level major threat. So 15 and up.
Yeah, I would call him the precursor to the end game threat. He's the one who, in the temple, you've carved through the guards, you've beaten the guardians, and they're saying the master is inside. We mustn't have him interrupted. And you burst into this chamber where this warbling portal is being ripped open by Malzahar, and he turns and roll initiative, right? Because he's trying to bring through a world-ending threat from the void.
Yeah.
So that suggests a +5 proficiency bonus, 18 AC, which we can make work with the equivalent of a mage armor, basically, especially with his passive ability, but we'll get into that. We'll start out at 15 for now. 13,000 experience points. I want those experience points, personally. We'll go with the regular stuff. Common, probably Abyssal. That makes the most sense to me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Abyssal feels good.
Senses, I think he has maybe some sort of true sight. Maybe like a 30-foot true sight.
Yeah.
And I don't think he has any other special sight because he is a human. He's not an elf. He's not a supernatural creature. He is just touched by the void. So I think that is what the true sight can affect him with. Condition immunities, charmed. I think
Hmm.
you can't dominate this guy. His mind is all whatever you try to dominate his mind with, something stronger is already inside him.
Along with that, I think he should have psychic damage immunity.
Ooh, that's interesting. I like that. Which is quite cool because I have a feeling that he's going to be dealing psychic damage with his ability called Malefic Visions. Damage resistances. I don't know what would he be resistant to if he's resistant to anything at all.
Radiant.
Radiant. That makes
There's not enough.
sense.
There's not enough radiant damage types for that to really matter.
Yeah, but that's why I think it's interesting to put it in there.
Yeah.
Because when the cleric or the paladin does strike him with a divine smite, and he just turns and laughs, as the paladin goes, "Oh, uh-oh," because of course it's not immune, right? Immune would suck because that would make the paladin feel totally useless, and we don't want that. Vulnerabilities, I don't think we have to worry about that. I don't think he's vulnerable to anything.
Yeah.
If we hadn't given him immune to psychic, honestly, I wouldn't have felt bad about giving him vulnerable to psychic because he's mad, he's insane. But he's that kind of
That's
composed insanity where he has this agenda, but he can still kind of walk and talk.
well, that's the thing. If you're already suffering from insanity,
Yeah, I like Lee's description here. Paladin struggling with smite dysfunction, treat with level up. Swing by your local pharmacy for a level up cream.
grab yourself a little blue potion.
Yep. Obviously he's going to have Arcana as a skill. Um, maybe Insight, but of course it's that
Uh,
weird kind of insight where he can see. It's that sort of thing where, like what cult leaders do, right? They find you and they say, "Oh, I can see something in you that you can't," and it's like a false insight that they use to manipulate you. So it's probably going to be deception,
Actually, I would like to think it's persuasion.
persuasion.
I, I would like to think he believes every word that comes out of his mouth.
Yeah, he's a true believer.
Mm-hmm. Because I mean, he's described as the prophet of the void. I mean, he absolutely believes it.
It's
I don't
true.
think he lies at all.
All I am telling you is a simple truth. Why can't you see it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Saving throws, probably charisma, and I don't know. Maybe give him a weird one.
Maybe just lock saving throws and tack on con.
Yeah, I was thinking Constitution. There's not a lot of Constitutions. Constitution saves, except in things like I think Disintegrate and Finger of Death, maybe
And poisons,
poisons. Aha.
which use poisons, people.
Yes.
They are amazing. They do great things.
I played on the Grandmaster server. I was playing my Rogue Ranger, and he had the Poisoner feat. Man, that's powerful. That's
Mhm.
really powerful. Making poisons with that for I think it's like 50 gold for like 4 doses of a pretty powerful poison, and you can cause the poisoned condition. I like Lee's reasoning here. Could tie the seer thing into insight. Yep, absolutely correct. Very good. Okay. Do we want to work on stats first, or do we want to work on the abilities first?
We always go abilities first.
We do.
Object oriented design.
Um,
uh,
One of the things
for
that this
ability.
always misses is traits. They're passive abilities.
Hmm.
There we go. So, speaking of
So
passives, go ahead.
we do have a viewer that is a little unsure of what's going on. So we'll go ahead and explain the process again. Um, Basically, we are designing a 15th to end game level creature right now, and the way we're doing this is we're taking abilities first and really using those to flesh out the character rather than just the stat block. The stats will come. Numbers will work themselves out eventually if you play with them long enough. But what's really hard is making the character fun to play.
and fun to fight, because Claw Bite, that's old news. We've seen Claw Bite a million times. It's the reason I like making spellcasters. Because you can do some pretty crazy stuff. Because one of the things when making a spellcaster monster stat block, don't just give them a bunch of spells from the game. Because that's boring, personally. Give them abilities that are evocative of who they are, and what they do. In this particular case, Malzahar's actual passive is when he hasn't recently taken damage or been crowd controlled, he gains massive damage reduction, which I believe the number is something around 90%, and crowd control immunity, and it lingers for like a second after he takes damage, and then it goes away, and then he has to wait for it to recharge. And this, we already have a mechanic in 5th edition, in D&D really, that exists for that. Temporary hit points.
Yeah.
I feel like he has a store of temporary hit points that recharges, and while he has those temporary hit points, he just can't be affected by conditions. It's just, it's not going to work. What's it called? Void Shift.
Yep. Void Shift.
Whoops. There we are.
So, wording this in a 5th edition way, we can almost do word for word, except for where it says or been crowd controlled, we can change that to or under the effect of a condition.
Yeah, that's right.
And then damage reduction to temp HP. How much temp HP are we gonna do?
That's an interesting question, because I think based on how long fights go for in 5th edition, I don't think there's going to be a recharge on this. It's going to be the sort of thing where he has it at the beginning of the encounter, and you it's like a second health bar. And once you tear that down, then you can start sort of affecting him with stuff. Based on the 5th edition thing, it reckons they should have around about based on this A5E, because it's sort of like a revised monstrous CR table, around 240 hit points. So I wonder if we go either half or a quarter of that.
Half, maybe.
Half, yep. Because if it's a CR15 threat, he's gonna survive maybe 2 hits before it's gone. Because a bunch of player characters whacking him, it's going to last maybe a round of them hacking away at him. So that's going to be 120. Let's see. Malzahar has we're going to set this to 240. Has temporary hit points equal to half of his maximum hit points. While he has these temporary hit points, he is immune to all conditions. All conditions. Doesn't matter what you do to him, you can't restrain him, you can't grapple him, you can't do anything. And how it's shown in the video game is it's basically this like bubble, but of course you can do anything in D&D. I would see the narrative as sort of like he's like partially ethereal. Like the barbarian goes to restrain him and he just seems to slip out of his grasp. It's like you're trying to grab onto oil. Malzahar,
I like that description.
Malzahar regains these temporary hit points after after 24 hours, after a long rest. Monsters don't really take long rests, but we can still use that language because a GM would understand what that means.
I mean, yeah, both forms of rest have a defined period of minimum time.
That's true. Maybe even a
So,
short rest he regains this, because he's meant to be super
yeah,
duper powerful.
I like that. I like the short rest because, like, as soon as he's got a minute to breathe, if you let up that pressure,
Yeah. If you let him
he's coming back.
escape and you give him, yeah, like you're chasing him into the lair, if you take so long and you get harried and you take an hour, he's gonna get that back, and he's regenerating himself. Yeah, there we go. Cool.
Right, you are, reptile.
You've got to keep going after him, yeah. Yeah, I agree. It would be pathetic if you could just charm the boss. Like, you can give them all the saves you want, but wouldn't it be because if you don't want your monster to be able to be charmed, just give them immunity. Don't just give them a crazy high bonus, because that means that you expect, whether you realize it or not, that it is possible to charm them. And maybe that's the thing that you want to go for. But personally, I think that's it's just easier. Take the easier option.
Yeah.
Let's see. The other trait was gaze into the void. At the beginning of a combat round, I think. Like at the top of initiative. It's like his lair action, but he can do it anytime.
Yeah.
At the beginning of a combat round, and I'm not. That language isn't really in 5th edition, it's more of a 4th edition thing, but people know what it means when they read the words combat round. Malzahar can choose one creature he can see. He just has to be able to see them. Doesn't matter what range it is. Malzahar can choose one creature he can see. Malzahar instantly knows the actions, bonus actions, and movement that creature intends to take for the rest of the combat round. And I feel like GMs are smart enough to understand what that means when it comes to a player. But I wonder if it's worth putting into this that the GM has the rights with this ability to enforce this on players.
Yeah. I feel like the way it should work in a table setting is like the GM passes out a note card.
Yeah.
Write down what you're going to do.
Yeah. Why has this suddenly broken? Oh, it's because I've done this. There we go. When used on a player character, the player controlling that character must write down or in some way solidify. No, just write down. Must write down what they intend to do on their turn in that combat round. And abide by those actions to the best of their ability. Because, of course, something might change. You know, I wanted to do this, but then, like, the wizard blew up the terrain in front of me, and now I can't go to where I wanted to go. Because Malzahar cannot see perfectly. It's just a case of... you know, the chaos of the battle is impossible to perfectly predict all of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I think that I've broken something here. No, there we go. The triple underscore creates these sort of arrow-looking things. Okay, so those are his traits. I think those are fine. Let me just throw them in alphabetical order here, because otherwise, the brain in me will lose its mind. Actions, multi-attack. So I'm thinking, because it's a minion master, I was thinking about this yesterday, And this is when I sent you that message and I said, oh my god, I've been thinking about it, I'm really excited about this. So in the game, because he is not what's known as an AD carry, he is not an auto-attacker. He's not the kind of guy that stands around auto-attacking you, although because it's a video game and how the game works, you can build him that way. He doesn't have an ability that we can easily translate to his regular weapon attack. So I'm thinking we make it sort of like how his auto attack works, where he fires a kind of bolt of sort of purple energy. Hello, Pokeniner, first time chatter. We have a new person in here. We are creating Malzahar from League of Legends into Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition as a stat block. I have here with me Coffee Merc, helping me out with his legions of years of experience playing and running D&D.
Pokeniner, where are you joining us from?
Yeah, I'm very curious as to how you discovered this stream.
Right.
SoCal.
So what's the... Huh.
Okay. How did you
Right on.
find this stream? Just stream scrolling. Well, welcome. I hope that you have at least a little bit of a fun time with us. So I'm thinking the name of his attack is probably just going to be called something really simple like Void Bolt. Because in the game, I'm sure you'd be able to find a video of it somewhere. He basically just extends his arms and this blah, 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 this sort of beam of energy flies out. But I'm thinking the secondary effect, whether he hits or not, is all of his voidlings that are on the field get a free movement towards the target. Because he, like, psychically commands them. And making it a on-hit or a miss, I think, is important here. Because, as we all know, missing sucks. And we want something to happen. So whether he hits or not, I think that it could be as a reaction, all of his voidlings on the field can, if they want to, move, like, up to half of their movement towards the target. And if they get within striking distance, they get a free attack. Just one attack. Because this dude's strong. He's very scary.
Now, do you want to include that attack as part of the ability, or do you want to make it cost, like, the Voidling's reaction?
Oh, yes. Absolutely, it would cost their reaction. There's a lot of precedent for that kind of ability across D&D as well as homebrews. Because getting it for free... He's already getting it for free because whether he hits or misses with his own attack, this happens. So it needs to cost something.
All right.
So we're going to put in Malzahar, and fire, I think, 2, maybe? Can use 2 Void Bolt attacks. That's a lot of text. That's a lot of text, but that's certainly what would happen. Can use 2 Void Bolt attacks and maybe one of his other actions? Question mark. Maybe. So ability description. Attack style. This is a ranged spell attack, certainly.
Yeah, definitely.
Go ahead.
I don't think that the multi-attack should trigger the other actions. I think the other actions should trigger one of his quote-unquote multi-attacks.
Sure, yeah. Like when he uses one of his other actions, he gets a free Void Bolt.
Right.
Ah, yeah.
But just one, not 2.
Yeah.
Just one.
Yeah, okay.
Looking at these abilities, they're gonna be nasty.
They are. Or use one, or make 1 Void Bolt attack after using one of his other actions. What's the attack bonus on this? Plus 6 apparently is the recommended ability bonus.
Okay.
That makes sense to me. Because that's 6 plus whatever his what is it, like proficiency bonus and things. Because a CR 15 with a plus 6 to attack, that doesn't sound right to me at all. Because when you're fighting that sort of stuff, even player characters have like a plus 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got ranged spell attack. This is Void Bolt. Attack bonus to hit is probably going to be like a plus 9 or maybe even a plus 10, but we'll just put a little XX for now. The range on it, what's the range on an Eldritch Bolt? Eldritch Blast is like 120, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe 80 feet. Spellcasting ability is going to be Charisma for Malzahar. One target, yep, that's fine. On a hit, let's see. The guide recommends damage per round is 80-ish. I doubt that that's going to be the case for us. I'm thinking D8s. I'm feeling D8s. I don't know why. Yeah. That's just what I feel in my gut. Maybe 3 or 4 D8.
Well, if we're using Eldritch Blast as the template, right? Mm-hmm. 4 beams at a D10 each.
Sure.
Is what we're looking at damage wise, and we can adjust that however.
Okay, yeah, that would work. So maybe we go with 4d10.
Mm-hmm.
4d10 damage type. What do you think? Force or like psychic?
For this specifically, I'm thinking force.
Yep.
Because there are other things that are going to do psychic damage here.
Oh yeah.
Like Malefic Visions is definitely do psychic damage. The Voidlings might do psychic damage.
The Voidlings, I think, are going to hit because they are physical creatures. They are physically present, so that it's probably going to be something like slashing or bludgeoning plus some psychic.
Mm-hmm. But one thing that you need to remember, people, when you're designing a monster, giving them just one damage type neuters them.
It does.
As Reptile found out in one of our games.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It can absolutely cripple a player or a monster because a big ancient red dragon, for example. Cool. Not that fun for the GM when the whole party has a way to be resistant or immune to fire damage. While Claw Bite does exist, by the time you're fighting something like an ancient red dragon, everyone probably has resistant to bludgeoning, slashing damage by that point. Yeah, psychic damage against constructs, not fun. Not fun.
My bad, buddy. My bad.
So shall we work on Call of the Void, his first sort of basic ability?
Oh, yeah.
Call of the Void. So what is the description here?
Malzahar opens up 2 portals to the Void, and after a short delay, they fire projectiles that deal magic damage and silence enemy champions.
Silence is interesting here. I wonder if we could play with that.
We could. We absolutely could. Maybe a saving throw here, and if they fail it, then they are unable. Yeah, speak or provide verbal components.
That's true. Area control, absolutely. I wonder if we could even make it it creates a zone of silence along where the portals begin and across the path where they cross.
Give me a second. Let me get my handy dandy reference open.
And in answer to Poke9er, I do not look at community homebrew. I've never seen a reason to so far. The range on this is actually quite short in game terms.
So silence as the spell. Let's look at that real quick. Because if they're already mechanics, you should at least look at them before designing new ones.
True. Let's have a look at the good old SRD.
120 feet range, verbal and somatic components, concentration lasting up to 10 minutes. For the duration, no sound can be created within or pass through a 20-foot radius sphere, which, if you look at the image of Malzahar in that little animation that was playing, that looks about right. That looks like 4 squares
I
of
agree.
space.
Yep.
So we could just give him the silence spell.
That's true. That's true, but yeah, we can give it the. I like where Poke9 is going with this. This is very much our sort of thought process that we're heading down, where it's silence, but with a little bit of juice. It's not just silence; it's Malzahar's silence ability.
Absolutely.
Malzahar chooses 2 points. He can see within, what was that, 120 feet?
Yeah.
Within 120 feet of him. Creating a zone. Creating 2 portals at each of those points. Those points, including the spaces, I think those points and the spaces between those points come under the effect, become areas of silence as the spell. Yeah, that works. It's also going to deal some damage, of course. Which is probably going to be because this is like a physical manifestation of the void, so we're probably going to go back to old reliable dex saves to try and avoid taking damage.
Good old dex saves.
Let's see, we can do it like this. When the portals and zones are created, any non-void creature, because we're going to be stipulating voidlings are a void creature. Actually, we can go any creature that is not Malzahar or one of Malzahar's voidlings must succeed on a DC XX, because we'll figure that out later. Dexterity saving throw. Taking... Let's see, what kind of damage do we want to do here? Because it's got to be better than his Void Bolt. Because this is meant to be one of his sort of core abilities. Because let's see, a Fireball is 8d6. I wonder if we do... I'm thinking like 6d8. That's what's pushing itself out of my brain.
68. What equivalent spell level are we looking at? Like damage-wise, you think? Cone of Cold does 8d8, and it's a 5th level.
Okay.
Which is pretty appropriate for...
Yeah, that sounds
this.
about right. Because it's also much tighter than a Fireball. What we haven't stipulated is... chooses 2 points within 20 feet of each other. Because that's where he chooses 1 point, and then another point within 20 feet, and then they go whoosh towards each other. I think we can probably word this better. When Malzahar takes this action, any creature that is not Malzahar or one of Malzahar's voidlings within the area of this ability. There we go. I like 8d8. 8d8 sounds roundabout right.
And honestly, if you're looking at the monster manual or in other editions, the player's handbook for like damage and monster statistics, everything's underpowered.
Yeah.
Played rules as written D&D is one heck of a power fantasy.
It is.
We like a bit of a grittier game, a little higher stakes,
especially when you're fighting a boss.
Mm-hmm.
Not every fight has to be a fight to the death. When you're fighting someone like this, it is. Someone's gonna die, and it might not just be Malzahar. So you may see I've modified it a little bit to make it 4d8 force and 4d8 psychic, because again we don't want to have a single kind of damage. So but I'm a Gith. I'm resistant to psychic damage. Okay, that's fine. There's force damage. Nothing is resistant to force damage unless you have a brooch of shielding, I think. That's good. That's one.
So the portals should fill a square.
Yeah.
For the purposes of like clearly defining where something is.
Yeah. How's that? Creating two portals at each of those points, which fills the space they are created in.
Yeah.
Because then that tells the GM that that a player standing in the space that a portal's created, they are going to be included in that save.
I like it.
Gotta give that success stipulation. There we are. This is going to be interesting because I cannot for the life of me remember how to skip over one column in here. I think it does it automatically, but we're about to find out. Next ability, Void Swarm, which I wonder if we develop that last, because that's kind of one of his main abilities, one of his big abilities.
So, as far as like designing it, it's rather simple. It's just a conjuration.
Mm-hmm.
But what is being conjured? Are we going to flesh it out here in this stat block, or are we going to build another stat block?
I think we are going to build another stat block for the Voidling. So here's extra description that the website does not tell you. If you use this ability, at its base, it summons one Voidling. If you use one spell, this is in the video game, if you use, say, Call of the Void, and then you cast Void Swarm, it summons two Voidlings. If you use two different spells before using Void Swarm, it creates up to 3. So 3 is the maximum in the video game that you can create with Void Swarm. So the cycle of play in the game, of course, is you go spell, spell, Void Swarm, spell, spell, Void Swarm, spell, spell, Void Swarm to get the most out of it.
I can think of an elegant way to do that within like the weird confines of D&D structure.
Sure.
Because it's not a video game. You don't have that real-time response.
True.
So if Malzahar has dealt a certain damage type,
mm-hmm.
or has dealt damage with one of his non-multi-attack abilities,
mm-hmm.
You roll a d3.
Yeah.
Like in the last round. You roll a d3, and that's how many that you summon. That's just one idea. What do you think there?
Ooh, I wonder if... Yeah, like if he uses a... Because I would love to be able to have something... It'll be a pain in the butt for the GM to track this. To be able to have something like... for every, you track how many other actions you've taken that round. And then if you use... an ability, if you had used another ability but hadn't fired off Void Swarm, it summons like a D3 plus 1 up to a maximum.
Right.
But I feel like that would be too much of a pain for a GM to track, because you and I both know how frickin' much a GM has to do in combat.
I mean,
So
I'm your Huckleberry.
I quite like your way of doing it because it's like it just works. It just happens. It's easy to fire off.
Yeah,
Yeah, if he's dealt damage with not Void Bolt, yeah.
in the last round.
Um, if Malzahar has dealt force or psychic damage, or used one of his actions that isn't Void Bolt within the last round. I wonder if this is a trait that fires off at the end of each round.
Well, in the game, it's an activated ability, right?
It is.
Maybe give it a bonus
A
action.
bonus action? Yeah. So let's do a little thing here. Bonus.
Having
actions.
something for each action type is really good design.
It's true. Because how often do you see boss monsters taking a bonus action? You see actions and legendary resistances. I hate the legendary resistance. I think it's boring. I like the idea of like what we've done with Void Shift, where it's like a boss in a video game. You strip down a health bar, and now that they don't have that anymore, they don't get that special ability, which is kind of how legendary resistance works. The way MCDM did it was, they can their solo boss monsters can automatically succeed on a save, but it costs them something. So I wonder if we can do that with Malzahar, but he sacrifices a Voidling to do it. Make Voidlings kind of tough and dangerous, but if he decides that he wants to succeed on a saving throw, he can kill off one of his own Voidlings, and he can do it. Which of course means if you kill all the Voidlings, he can't do it anymore. So I think that's going to be one of his traits. I don't know exactly what we're going to call it. For now, we're just going to call it Sacrifice Voidling. Malzahar can automatically succeed on a saving... Or I can choose to. Yeah. Can choose to automatically succeed on a saving throw. If he, by instantly killing a Voidling. Because that, of course, has the rider on it that if he doesn't have a Voidling, he can't use this ability. Because one of the things that I think it's Zoronox the Overmind that MCDM created. He's got these, like, floating eyes that do all sorts of things. They fire eye beams. And Overmind is basically the MCDM beholder. Because Wizards of the Coast does not have copyright on giant eyeball monsters. And what Zoronox can do is he can sacrifice one of those eyes to succeed on a save, which of course means he loses access to one of his abilities. But it means that he's not going to get, I don't know, disintegrated or something. Not being disintegrated is one of my hobbies, personally. He can roll 1d3. Maybe it's... Because 1d3, what if he rolls a 1? Is one Voidling going to be dangerous enough?
Yeah.
We would have to stat it out to be dangerous enough.
CR5, make it tanky.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Voidlings, they need to be able to survive more than one round of damage, but I don't think these should be able to put out a lot of damage.
Yeah.
I think that should be Malzahar's job.
Yeah, because then it's a case of, do you want to go after Malzahar or do you want to go after the Voidlings? Because when he puts Malefic Visions on you, the Voidlings focus on that target. So that's where I think they can deal more damage. So now the question is, do you go after Malzahar to try and kill him quicker, or do you try and kill the Voidlings so that he doesn't have fodder to throw at you? And it forces the players to start making tactical decisions. And God, how terrifying would that be? Okay, guys, like, here's my roll, and you roll in front of them, and you roll a 3. 3 Voidlings show up. Oh, shoot. I'm in danger.
Or you just pull a natural end, set yourself on fire, jump in the middle of the fray, and pray for the best.
That's true. That is very true. Void Storm, there we go. That's his bonus. That's his bonus action. One of them, perhaps. Okay, yeah, this has gone over. I cannot for the life of me remember. Is it like that? Yes, it does work. Okay, cool. I know how to do things.
You can do it.
Column break. Bada boom! It is now over to the right. Perfect. Next, let's do Malefic Visions. We'll work on the Voidlings afterward.
Yeah.
We'll finish one stat block before we start another. So, Malefic Visions. It is a damage over time. Why don't you give us a read?
Malzahar infects his target's mind with cruel visions of their demise, dealing damage over time. Using Malzahar's other spells on the target will refresh the visions. If the target dies while afflicted by the visions, they pass on to a nearby enemy unit, and Malzahar gains mana. Let's put a pin in that. Malzahar's voidlings are attracted to affected units.
Yep.
So, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, tell me what ideas does that spark for you in our little design here?
Malzahar gains mana. So this is a monster, not a player character. So there's no spell slots or spell points depending on what rule variant you're using. There's just abilities. So what is mana?
Mm-hmm.
I think it should refresh Void Shift.
Ooh, that's brutal. That's very suitable though, because he has to kill someone.
Mm-hmm.
Although killing maybe just reduced to 0, because killing a player character in D&D 5th is really hard to do it outright.
So it's killing by this ability or under the effect of this ability, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if the target that drops to 0 vanishes, is taken into the void, and he gains mana from that?
Like when you're fighting him, you live or you die.
Mm-hmm. I really like that as far as like a tense encounter.
Absolutely. Yep. Because the sort of thing that you can do with that, this is so dramatic irony is one thing, like the players learning how this works can be one thing, but showing them on something like an NPC maybe, like they fight Malzahar earlier on, and it's the GM's way of showing what he can do, and he does this to someone, and they watch that person just disappear. And then when they get to the actual confrontation, the players watch that ability, and the GM gives the same description, and they go, guys, do you remember, like, a few months ago, when we fought this guy? Like, don't die if you're under the effects of that. I quite like the drama of that. Yeah, I think I'm down with that. Let's see, what is it? Malefic Visions. Because, again, the video game, it's just a damage over time. That's literally all it does. But the description with cruel visions of their demise, and I'm like, oh yeah, so that sounds like psychic damage to me.
Absolutely. And maybe the frightened condition.
That's what I thought. That's what I was thinking. But not of Malzahar, just in general. Just you're scared of everything. So that it's because how does frightened work? It's let's have a look at this. Frightened. Thank you, Roll20, for having a compendium for this.
Yeah.
So it has disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls while the source of its fear is within line of sight, and they can't willingly move closer to its source of fear. So in this particular case, they can't move, and they have disadvantage on basically everything they do. Except for saves, interestingly. I quite like that, yeah. Because it means they can still do stuff. Like, they can throw ranged attacks, spells, and stuff like that. It's just a lot harder for them. Yeah, okay. So let's do the wording of this, because in video games it's very easy to just write this description and you just code it. Whereas this, the GM has to interpret our code. Malzahar chooses a creature within... Let's see, so looking at this little animation, the range is fairly short in the video game. It's like I would say like a 15 to 20 foot range, but I feel like that's far too short because that's within fighter beating you to death range.
Right.
And this dude's a spellcaster, so maybe 60 feet. So that it takes at least one move. And they can dash if they want to, of course.
It takes one move if you're not playing my samurai.
That's true. Or a rogue, because remember everyone, rogues can dash as a bonus action. People forget that. And monks can dodge as a bonus action. And everyone can dodge as an action. People forget that. I made very good use of that with Amun-Ra.
Did.
Yep.
I miss that character so much. We have to revisit that at some point.
He's a very good boy. He's a very good dragon boy. Badly mutilated and a lot more of a zealous warrior than he already was. Yeah, I feel like he would be antagonistic towards most adventuring parties that weren't adhering to his plans.
Yeah.
So I think what we may actually have to do is put this column break here instead. Because Malefic Visions is going to make this a little bit longer. So, Malzahar chooses a creature within 60 feet of him, and this just starts affecting you. And maybe you can make like a charisma save, because we don't see enough of those. A charisma save to take half damage as it's ticking.
I like that. Save on end of turn?
Yeah, savings. It's usually an end of turn thing, so that it has at least one round to do its full thing. Although how long it lasts is going to be interesting. I wonder if it only lasts for one round, or until the end of Malzahar's next turn, so he has a chance to hit you with one of his other abilities that refreshes it.
Yeah.
Because the terrifying thing about Malzahar that can happen, and I've seen it happen in the video game, where you can have two Malefic Visions going at once, you fire a Call of the Void, clipping both of those creatures, and it refreshes both at once. Now imagine that happening in D&D. And now two player characters are going, help, 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 help. So I think it lasts until the end of Malzahar's next turn, so that he at least has a chance to refresh it. Because he might just decide to bully one creature. Like, he'll see another spellcaster and go, you're the one. You're the one that I want to kill. And so it'll be up to the rest of the party to intercept, interrupt the cleric to keep them healed. Stop the voidlings from being able to swarm them. That creature becomes afflicted by Malefic Visions. So I'm going to capitalize that, because that means that Malefic Visions is sort of like its own condition, really. Let's see. At the start of that creature's turn, maybe at the end of Malzahar's turn, because otherwise the GM's going to be interrupting the player and saying, oh, by the way, you have to do this. And the player goes, god damn it, hold on. At the end of Malzahar's turn in combat, or just turn, I think, because it doesn't necessarily have to be in combat, because you can do this narratively. Any creature afflicted by Malefic Visions must succeed on a DC XX charisma saving throw, or take... How much damage are we thinking? I keep thinking of D8s, and I don't know why.
So because it's a dot, it needs to be lower damage.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 2d8.
2d8?
Yeah.
Psychic damage.
Yeah.
Or half as much on a success. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. That sounds fine to me, although rolling 2 1s would kind of suck, but that is the nature of the void. It is chaotic and roiling. I mean, we could, if we wanted, we could give it extra damage based on his spellcasting ability. But I don't know if that's necessary. I think the rest of his kit is going to be able to work well enough. XD! Welcome! Welcome to the party. Something a little bit different than Waven today. We are...
What's going on, XD?
This is Coffee Merc. You may remember Coffee from the chat. He's my partner in design. Partner in crime, partner in design. We are turning Malzahar from League of Legends into a D&D 5th edition stat block. We're working on Malefic Visions right now. Now we come to the real kicker of Malefic Visions, the most terrifying part. If a creature afflicted by Malefic Visions is reduced to 0 hit points, not by Malefic Visions, just by anything, you could push them off a cliff if you wanted to. They are instantly killed? Or is it going to be like an imprisonment thing?
I would like it to function something like banishment.
That's what I was thinking.
Or plane shift.
Banished to the void?
Yeah. Or if you're using a game where the void doesn't exist,
yeah,
the abyss.
The abyss. For our purposes, we're going to say the void, because this is all of this design of these characters for League of Legends is predicated on the notion that they would be used in a D&D, but it's on Runeterra. It's in the League of Legends setting. They're instantly banished to the void. And
I just had a terrible idea.
Oh, tell me your terrible idea.
We should do a campaign setting design document for Runeterra.
That would be cool. That would be very, very cool. Because they started doing that with the Bilgewater sort of adventure guide, where they had all this stuff for Bilgewater, but they removed it, I think because of things like licensing issues. But I happen to have been able to download and get that at the time that it was posted, because it was made free. It was made totally free to everyone. I happen to have that. So we wouldn't show any of that on stream, because I feel like I would have some very angry lawyers, perhaps, sending me cease and desist. But we would certainly be able to privately and non-profitably share it amongst ourselves to sort of reference.
I like it. So the bad part of this.
Yes.
The abyss, the void, whatever. If you are transported there at 0 hit points, you're unconscious, you're incapacitated, you're probably dead.
Yeah.
But by not specifically saying that you're dead, we're allowing that God call, that 1 in 100 chance that you're gonna survive a situation you shouldn't.
That's right.
And I will be right back.
Sure. I think one of the changes we're going to do is they're instantly banished as the banishment spell without Malzahar, without requiring concentration. Hello, John. I recognize that latter part of your name. Welcome to the stream.
Hola, Juan.
We are putting Malzahar from League of Legends into D&D 5th edition. I've been alright. Got back from a very cool trip to Wellington to a metal show last week. And now I'm just sort of settling back into life now. Over the past few days, streaming, really. I want to continue doing this because it's a lot of fun. So I'm pretty happy with how Malefic Visions works. That's quite good. I like that. At DC 15, it reckons easy DC 15, hard DC 19. We're probably going to use the hard DCs because this dude's strong. This is a strong lad. Have we closed all the brackets that we need to? Yes, we have. Let's do some bolding here to make it a little bit easier to follow along for those who have difficulty reading. There we are. All right. Are you with us?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And also difficulty reading. I feel very called out.
Hey, look. I mean, I get it. I have friends who are colorblind or who have ADHD. I know that there is ADHD friendly font. I cannot remember the name of the one. I think it's Arial or Calibri. I think it might be Arial that is ADHD friendly. Or no, dyslexic friendly. That's what I'm thinking of. There are dyslexia friendly fonts that I would love to be able to make dyslexia friendly, yeah. But I do not have the resources to go through and change absolutely everything, although I'm sure I'll be able to copy this into a document and change the font somehow. So shall we work on the ultimate ability?
Yeah, what's that ultimate ability? You do the reading this time.
Nether Grasp. Malzahar channels the essence of the void to suppress an enemy champion over a zone of damaging negative energy. Now, an interesting piece of trivia for this is where you see in the animation that sort of zone that's created underneath the target in this video. That used to be his second ability. Where Void Swarm now is, that used to be an ability called Null Zone. And it was just a zone that he created that dealt damage over time equal to their maximum hit points. So the higher hit points you have... So this ability is actually quite useful on tanks in the game. Because it deals extra damage based on hit point maximum. Now the beam itself, the grasp, deals damage, and the zone persists for a little bit longer afterwards. It deals extra damage. So that's probably something that's going to go into this ability. One of the things that we have neglected to do is use the solo villain action-oriented stuff from MCDM, which is the 3-action plan, where they have 3 special actions that they can take. They're not layer actions, they're just special abilities that they can do, where one ability is the get into position ability. The fight has just started, I want to make sure that I'm in an advantageous position. The second ability is always oh shoot, I've been crowd controlled, I'm surrounded, something bad's happening, I need to extricate myself from the situation. And the last ability is always the you will remember me ability, the ult, which is going to be this ability. So I don't know what the first 2 abilities would be. Maybe we can come up with something a little bit custom, especially because this guy's meant to be extra dangerous, and he is intended to be fought alone. He has no minions except the ones that he summons. So, what we're going to do here, villain actions. Because they don't have to be used in any particular order either, because it may come to pass that the first round goes very badly for the villains, so they instantly use their ult.
So the get out of dodge ability, right?
Yeah.
I think using the void as a way to traverse the battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
So in essence, teleporting, but it's going to look cooler than that.
Absolutely.
It's going to be portals. And, yeah.
I wonder if he can do that with Call of the Void. Like he can cast that ability when he uses it once per fight. He can disappear from where he is and pop out of one of those portals.
Yeah.
because we are calling it a portal, and that's also what it's called in the game. Because we don't have to stay 1-to-1, but I like having that callback to the actual ability. It's interesting because it's weird because Void Shift, the ability, I always thought that would be a mobility ability.
Yeah, it sounds like it would be.
But I think shift means like he's partially shifted into the void, making him harder to hit. Or harder to hurt, rather. So this ability, I'm just going to call it teleportation ability because we need to come up with a better name.
Into the void.
Into the void? Yeah. Now I'm thinking of Blind Guardian. Because that is the name of one of these songs. It's quite a good song, too. Into the void. So, villain actions. I am going to do a little bit of a preamble here. Villain actions are special actions that can be taken once per day. I'm just going to say once per day because what we're not allowed to do is copy MCDM's text precisely. That is what copyright means, by the way, everyone in the stream. That is what copyright means. You are just not allowed to use the same text. Because trademarks and copyright are two very different things. Like, Wizards of the Coast has a trademark on beholders and how beholders work. They do not have a copyright or trademark on floating eyeball monsters. Villain actions are special actions that can be taken once per day, and can be taken in any order, but only once per round. Legally distinct monsters, hell yeah. There we go. So because that's one of the mistakes that people kept making in the MCDM Discord, I would watch them. They're like, oh, it really sucked. This really badass creature died on the first round because I couldn't use his ultimate ability. And people were coming and saying, you don't have to use them in order. That's just narratively, that's usually how a fight plays out. But because every table is different, every encounter is different, you have no idea when the creature might need to use their ultimate ability. Maybe they need to open with it because the paladin critted with a divine smite. And you're sitting there like, oh, dang it. Well, I can't use... I want to be able to use my ult, so you use it immediately. Special actions that can be taken once per day. I think it's at the start of another creature's turn. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. They can be taken in any order, but only once per round. I think that's how it works. And me thinking how it works is probably what is going to keep me safe from copyright. Either way, this is like non-profit and totally free anyway, so I don't think it's a problem, but I would rather not piss off MCDM because I like those guys.
I have a feeling that Koval would absolutely support what you're doing. He seems like that type of dude.
He's pretty cool, yeah. I'm not trying to be malicious about it or anything, but yeah, anyway. Mr. Colville, if you're watching, you're probably not. Thank you for all of the advice and content you've given me over the years.
We love you, man. We really do.
I've genuinely become a better GM because I watch his stuff. I watch James Introcaso, their lead game designer, or is it their line designer? I don't know the names for things. He does really cool streams where he talks at length about the MCDM RPG. So if anyone is interested in the development of the MCDM RPG and you don't have money to throw at the Patreon, because they do basically design how the sausage is made stuff on there. Go watch James Introcaso's streams. He will answer questions about the game. Sometimes he'll be like, we've already talked about this. But he basically always goes over it in brief. He did it for me a couple of days ago when I was watching one of his streams. I was asking questions and he was like, oh yeah, it's this and this and this. Yeah, really cool streams. So, Into the Void. Malzahar can use his Vol of the Void? Vol of the Coid?
Fall of the Water?
I'm speaking Norwegian now. Uh, can use his Call of the Void ability immediately. Nah. Can use Call of the Void. That's too many words. I'm using too many words. Can use Call of the Void. Appearing in the space of one of the portals that it creates. Malzahar is immune to all effects from Call of the Void. I feel like that should be part of his traits or something. To just make it, make it explicit that his own stuff can't affect him. Although it would be very funny if the players were able to back him into a corner where he was forced to use it on top of himself to hit the players. But we're just going to do it like that for now. We can always change it later. The next one is his get into position ability. Like, it's the start of the fight. The player characters have broken into the temple that I'm trying to summon Belveth to this world. What does Malzahar do at the very beginning of a fight?
I think he reaches into the void, pulls out as many voidlings as he can.
I agree. This is why I like designing with you, man. I was thinking the exact same thing. I thought he should start the fight with some voidlings. Or be able to start, because obviously if he goes first, then he's not going to do this. But then at the start of the next player's turn, he's going to go, what? And all of these voidlings spill out. Because again, that's very much, this is also another ability that could be called Call of the Void, but we already have that. I want to use like really crazy like space fantasy language, like weird words. That's not just void.
Void.
Oh, this will be easy. This dude's alone. They summon 4 minions. Yeah, exactly. Like, you think, oh, it's just a mage. This is going to be fine. Let's see. Abyssal Cascade? Something like that. I like the word cascade. That's a cool word.
Yeah.
Maybe Abyssal Cascade, because Abyssal doesn't necessarily have to mean the abyss, as in the place where demons live.
Right.
Abyssal Cascade. Malzahar. Maybe just Malzahar summons 3 voidlings.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I like the fact that he would get 3 right off the bat.
Yep.
That's an easy number to manage, and it's gonna more or less balance the action economy for most parties.
Absolutely.
However, put a note at the end of it.
Sure.
If the party size exceeds the number of voidlings plus Malzahar, Malzahar summons up to the party size.
If the party, if the party size exceeds the number of Malzahar plus 3 voidlings, Malzahar instead summons voidlings equal to the party size. Because what I do in my notes also, I did it to you guys in the 4th edition game, where I wrote in the notes, it's time to outnumber the party, let's see what happens. Because I like writing notes like that to myself. I can already imagine player. Yeah, exactly. Yep, like what Lee says, this dude's alone, they summon minions, and then XD talking about it like that, yeah, you can absolutely see the party is like, hell yeah, and then he just goes, and just vomits all of these voidlings into the battlefield, and they go, oh shoot, what the hell are we meant to do? And then of course the GM says, hey, you there, fighter, write down what you're going to do for this turn, and then hand it to me. And you have to do what you wrote down. And the player goes, what the fuck? What is going on? So yeah, this is like, I love this. It's like we were making Karthus with his passive ability,
Yeah.
where your comment of like, we killed him, why is he not off the initiative tracker? Because he gets another round of actions, boys.
Yo.
Because he is a lich. Liches are dangerous. The terrifying thing so far is that there's no upper limit. Exactly. Like, if you want to bring 20 allies with you, okay, that's fine. You can do that. But you are going to be outnumbered by 1. Because it's Malzahar plus Voidling. You brought an army, that's cute, exactly. And then all these Voidlings. Blah, 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 blah. So, that's his opening ability. His ultimate ability is Nether Grasp. His ult ability.
Yeah.
So, the description is he chooses someone, a single person. This is basically the you're not allowed to be alive anymore ability. Again, it's the you will remember me ability. Nethergrass channels the essence of the void to suppress an enemy champion, which is an outright lockdown. In the video game, no summoner spells, no recall, no items, no abilities, no spells, nothing. You can do literally nothing. You have to be saved from this by someone else, which I quite like because it makes it a lot more heroic, right?
Yeah.
One of the abilities that I put onto Caitlyn was her ultimate ability, where in the video game you can intercept it. I quite like abilities where you can kind of do a get down, Mr. President, to save someone. So I wonder if we can do that with Nethergrasp. Like, someone else can jump in to be hit by this instead of you. Because Malzahar would, of course, use this on probably the lowest health character in the party. Obviously, he doesn't know how many hit points everyone has, but he can certainly see how beaten someone is. Malzahar chooses a creature within, I think this has a long range, like 80 feet maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, 80 sounds good. I mean, it's not as far as like the auto attack, but you know, it's fine.
Yeah, because this needs to be an ability that is counterable, like a regular everyday attack. We want that to be able to hit and do stuff. Whereas this one is the you can stop it. You can actually interact with it. Chooses a creature within 80 feet of him that he can see. That creature is I don't know, maybe this is just you're stunned. You can't do anything.
Have a comment from the Jinx Demon. This guy reminds me of kinda a warper from Subnautica, with the way that they know where you are and can pretty much tell your every move. They can make an ear-piercing screech, which Malzahar can't. Can do psychic damage.
What's
But
this?
the warper has here, I'll send it to you so you can read the full thing.
Yeah,
But this
absolutely.
is a comment from the Jinx Demon.
Oh, who is the Jinx Demon?
That is my cousin.
Aha! Are they watching and lurking?
Yeah, we're talking on Facebook.
Got it.
Here I am sending you their comment in Discord.
Hell yeah. The Warper from Subnautica. Oh, I see. Uh-huh. Oh, I've heard about these things. Yeah. At a random height in the water. Yeah. I didn't think you'd say that. First time chatter of the Jinx Demon. Hello, lurker. I see you. Okay, so.
Oh, I'm gonna call you out.
There's no hiding.
Nothing personal.
We are the prophet of the void. We can gaze into the void and see where you are. Unlurked. Get unlurked, boy. That creature becomes stunned and I think they make a con save. I think this is a constitution save. Because it's basically just a massive blast of energy. And must succeed on a DC XX constitution save or just take. This is like a colossal amount of damage. Like, how much does something like disintegrate deal?
Disintegrate?
Let's find out. It's like 10d6 plus 40 is what Disintegrate does. It is a 6th level spell. So maybe
that's a minimum of 100 damage?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Oh, close to.
Yeah. No, it's not.
It's a maximum of 100 damage.
Yeah, I'm dumb. It's okay. I can't math today.
Yeah, I mean, like, 40 damage minimum. That's 50 minimum, because if you roll, 10 ones, which is very unlikely, but not impossible. Constitution saving... Save. People know what save is, or a saving throw is. Yeah. Or take... I wonder if we tone it down a little bit, or maybe we just go outright Disintegrate. Like 10d6 plus 40. I want it to be a little bit different, though. Because I think we lower the damage, but it has that stunned condition.
Remove the 40.
Remove the 40? 10d6 damage?
Yeah.
Or take 10d6 force damage and become stunned until the end of their next turn. Oh, wait. That creature must succeed on a DC XX Constitution save or take 10d6 force damage and become stunned until the end of their next turn. On a success, they are not stunned. So you're gonna take 10d6 damage. The question is just whether or not you get stunned. Because this is his ult. This is his big ability. Then we're gonna go... on use, Nether Grasp creates a null zone, a zone of negative energy. I think a 20-foot radius zone of negative energy around the target, which is going to make this worse and worse and worse. Around the target. Any creature that is... Any non-void creature that is... What is it? That's... How does this stuff work? That starts its turn within it or moves there for the first time on their turn takes, I think, like 2d8. 2d8 force damage and 2d8 psychic damage. But how long does the zone last? The zone lasts... Thanks for hanging out, Lee. I appreciate you stopping by. The zone lasts until the end of the combat encounter, or Malzahar is killed. So when he uses his ult, that zone is going to be there for the rest of the fight.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that we need to do is do this. Change his type to medium void humanoid. Which means that he is immune to all of the void things. So if he decides to open with this ability, it's going to be bad. It's going to be really bad. Of course, you can ask the question, why wouldn't he always use it first? Well, if you're trying to be a narrative GM versus a power level GM, you understand why. Because it's more dramatic for him to be like, you've interrupted my plans, and he fights you for a couple of rounds, and then he goes, enough, blah. It's way more dramatic and fun that way.
I hope you have a good night. If you're going to bed.
Later, XD. You took tomorrow off? Beautiful. Days off are great. I miss those. Now I only have days off. Well, technically my days off are Saturday, Sunday, Monday, because that's when I don't stream.
Yeah. Yeah, that tracks. I'm sending you another thing. This one's private.
Sweet. Mm-hmm. Well, we appreciate you jumping in and hanging out for a bit, XD. I hope that this has some kind of value to you. What do we need to work on? We need to work on the voidlings, because one of the things that I forgot to put in was now that we know how Void Swarm works, we need to adjust how Void Bolt works. Whether Malzahar hits or misses with Void Bolt, any Voidling can use their reaction I think we can just use when. When Malzahar hits or misses with Void Bolt, any Voidling can use their reaction to move up to half of their speed towards the target of Void Bolt. If
we could clean that up, you remove hits or misses and just put uses.
That's true.
Always try to condense your descriptions as much as you can, because people don't read.
Correct. Correct. This is the main thing that I do at the end of, usually at the end, but sometimes I do it amongst these designs, is you just go back through and you just trim it down as much as you can. It's the reason that MCDM basically revived the term save ends, because how much do you hate having to read a target can make a saving throw at the end of their turn to end this effect? Why not just use save ends, and then at like one location in the book, define what save ends means? And that saves you a shite ton of word count. If their movement, if this movement would place them within range of a creature, they can make a single melee weapon attack against that creature. There's probably a better way that we can write that. But yeah, the goal of this is that when he uses Void Bolt, whoever he's targeting, the Voidlings can go whoop, and they whip around and they can charge that target. I think Malefic Visions, because Voidlings are attracted to anything that is under the effects of Malefic Visions. So I think Malefic Visions causes Voidlings to deal extra damage, I think. I think Malefic Visions is how Malzahar can get his Voidlings to deal extra damage. Otherwise, they are just weenies that are his minions. When a Voidling hits a creature afflicted by Malefic Visions, they deal 2d6 additional force damage. Not too much, not too little, because I feel like d4 is too little, d8 is too much.
Tend to agree.
So there we have all of that stuff. Now, let's work on the numbers.
Sure. So this guy's a caster.
Yes, he is.
He's not a tank. You know, he's not your paladin-y type, but he shouldn't be weak. I think, though, a lot of his survivability is going to come from that pool of refreshing temp HP.
Absolutely.
More than AC.
Yep. So do you think we give him the equivalent of Mage Armor with, like, a +2 Dex mod? So he has 15 AC?
I mean, we could basically just give him, like, the equivalent of Robe of the Archmagi or something.
Oh god, what does that thing do? Does that give a +1 to AC?
I think it's a 17 AC flat. I'm not 100% sure. Hold on.
Let's see if the compendium tells us. Or maybe it's behind. Oh, hey, cool, it is here. It is a legendary item to be attuned by a warlock. Your base armor class is 15 plus your dex.
There you go.
So probably 17, yeah. Probably either 16 or 17.
And we don't have to like actually give him the item, just using that as a reference point.
What if we did?
But if we did,
What
this
if
is
we-
how you acquire that item.
This is how you get a robe of the Archmagi. Either that or a robe of eyes.
Ooh, I like the robe of eyes.
Because the robe of eyes is very suited. Because that would give him that dark vision. You can see invisible creatures. Yeah, let's give him the robe of eyes. This is how you can get a robe of eyes. You can get it of him. So true sight. We're gonna pull this over here so I can dual monitor this. Dark vision, 120 feet. Invisible and ethereal, 120 feet. Advantage on precision, so that's going to be under senses. His passive perception. We need to figure out what his wisdom is going to be. I'm thinking like maybe a 14.
Okay.
Which is a +2. Which means that if we give him perception as a skill, which I think we're going to do, the proficiency bonus for a CR 15 is a +5. So that's 5, 6, 7. So that means it's 17. He has advantage on... Oh no, wisdom perception. The checks, not the passive. There we go. So he has a perception of +7 with advantage, and he otherwise has a passive perception of 17. His charisma, 18. It's going to be his best stat, or do we go 20? Maybe 19.
I don't like odd numbers on non-player characters.
Yeah, I tend to agree, because 19 is usually where like a headband of intellect and things put you. 20 approaches like demigod levels, and this guy is pretty tough. So maybe we do give him like 20.
Yeah, I have no issues with a +5 for this guy. 20 works.
I think strength, it's going to be pretty low, like 12. Oh, I forgot. He is a dagger. That's one of the things he has. Look at his side. But he never uses it, though. He never uses it in the video game. I want to have that as his melee attack. So let's give him...
a magic dagger.
He has a magic dagger. What are we going to call it? We need to give it... This needs to be a special item that they can loot from him. That's what we need to do.
Ooh, maybe it's how he opens the portals.
That's true. Actually, here's a thing. Let's go to the League of Legends website and look at the items.
Oh, hell yeah.
And see if there is one of the items, because I can't remember. Universe? No. Okay, so they only note the champions. So we're just going to go League of Legends items. Is there, because I can't remember, is there an item that is basically a void dagger? Let me just type in dagger. No. Distributed items, epic items, legendary items. So let's see, there's... What is that thing? Blackfire Torch. That's cool. Oh, that must be a new item. Blood Song.
Eclipse.
Eclipse. Let's see, is this in alphabetical order? Yes, it is. There it is. Unique Ever Rising Moon. Oh yeah, that's often used by what's it called? Like fighters and bruisers and things. It could be Eclipse though. It's a suitable name. Opportunity looks good, but it is like an assassin, like scythe looking thing. Maybe Nashor's Tooth. Oh, that makes sense. Because it has a Cathian bite. So Acathia was a city that, I believe because of Malzahar, caused the void to erupt into the material realm, into Runeterra. So maybe it's Nashor's Tooth. Which Nashor being Baron Nashor, which is this giant serpent void creature.
Yeah.
I think that makes the most sense, yeah. We're going to go Nashor's. It is a melee weapon attack. Am I writing this right? Yes, I am. How much is it to hit? It's probably going to be his strength plus his proficiency, so that's only a +6.
Plus magic bonus.
Oh, plus magic bonus. Ah, that's true. It's probably like a +2, because it'll be like a very rare. So 6, 7, 8. +8 to hit. One target. Oh, 5 feet range. One target. Although he can throw it. But he probably isn't going to. He probably isn't going to, but giving the option, that's totally fine. One target. On a hit, how much does it deal? Excuse me, that was a very loud hiccup. So a dagger is usually a D4. But this is a special dagger. So the item itself... Where is it? There we go. We're going to open it here. It is a legendary item. So what it usually does is, it increases your attack speed. It gives you ability haste, which lets you use abilities faster. It gives you ability power, spell damage. And on hit, you deal extra magic damage. So this is definitely going to be something he can stab with a bunch of times. He can stab like 3 times with this if he wants to.
Yeah. We had a name suggestion for this item.
Horus's Kiss. Horus is one of the gods of time. Maybe. Because we're going with the sort of League of Legends canon, I want to use stuff that is from the canon. Oh, that's good. See, similar items, probably not in lore, though. I do like that though, Horus's Kiss. I'm gonna file that away into my brain banks, and I'm gonna use it sometime probably. It's probably a D4, and then it does like extra damage based on magical stuff. 1d4. What is it? Piercing damage. Because it's a +2. So that means it would deal +3 because he uses... Actually, because daggers are finesse, he'd be able to use his dexterity, which is a +2. So it's 2, 3, 4. So it's D4 plus 4 piercing damage. Plus, I feel like maybe 2d6 psychic damage.
Yeah. I like psychic damage on that.
And we're going to go multi-attack. Can use 2 Void Bolt. Can use Void Bolt twice. Nashor's Tooth twice and Void Bolt once. Or make 1 Void Bolt attack after using one of his other actions. Or maybe... Or Nashor's Tooth and Void Bolt once after you... So he could, like, after he uses one of his spells, he can stab someone and then blast someone with Void Bolt. Because we want this guy to just be like blah 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 and doing stuff every round.
Did you see what XD posted?
Yes, we were chatting about it last week during a Waven stream. He was asking me about like what I would want to see in a D&D builder. My main question was basically, as a genuine question, not to put him down, of course, is why would I use yours when there are others? Like a what are you doing differently? Which I think it simulated a pretty good discussion about like what's going to go in there. I quite like the interactivity that he wants to put into it. Especially not having it entirely tied to like D&D Beyond and having it as a third-party thing. I think that's what a lot of people would like the most. Being able to manually input everything while also having some really solid functionality. Because the original question that I think he asked was about language. And all of the many, many kinds of languages in the game, and having those all in like drop-down menus. My main suggestion to that was having a custom field, so that people don't have to choose from the drop-down if they don't want to, because people like having their own homebrew languages.
Yeah.
But I totally agree with you. I would love to, like, when it's getting off the ground, I'd love to take a look at it and show it off on stream and talk about it and examine it and stuff. That'd be really cool.
If you find yourself stuck at any point, I do have a background in software engineering and would be happy to at least look at it and see if I can help.
Coffee speaks truth. Coffee, you used to work on a sort of MMORPG. I can't remember the name of it, but you helped work on...
For legal reasons, we cannot discuss the name or what it was. Absolutely. But yes, I used to work on an MMO, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was
until I didn't get paid.
True, that's true. But yeah, I can't remember the name, which in this case is a good thing because, as you said, we can't discuss the specifics. But coffee speaks truth. So now that we have his charisma set up, we now know what his DCs can be. So it says that the hard DC for a CR 15 is 19. That basically tracks. It would be sort of like a DC 20 because it always starts at 8 plus proficiency plus spellcasting. So that would make him a DC 18. I think. Yeah. So DC 18 doesn't sound too bad to me. Because CR 15, what level characters are going to be fighting that? Like level 10s? Level 9s, level 10s?
Fighting a CR 15?
Yeah.
As a deadly encounter? Yeah.
Like a party of 4 level 10s.
Yeah, but you got a CR 15 with up to however many void lanes. That's a deadly encounter for level 10.
Oh yeah, that's intended.
So yeah, that tracks.
DC 18 I think works quite nicely for us then.
I will be right back. I think I hear somebody at the door.
All good. I'll work on filling out some of these numbers. Got a plus 10 there because it's proficiency plus spellcasting ability. We want to find all of the things that say DC. DC 18 dex save. Ba-da-da-da. There we we go. There's another one. DC 18. Perfect. We can word this a little bit differently. Nether Grasp also creates a 20-foot radius zone of negative energy centered around the target. There we go. Perfect. I wonder if we can... Whoa. I think we need to change this a little bit. Yeah, there we go. This is better. A little bit of editing work here. Crack that down. I'm glad that stuff that I said was able to help you out a little bit, XD. As I said, I'm certainly not trying to dissuade you from doing this. But when questions are asked, when I'm asked for critique or opinion on things, I will certainly give them. I understand that I can. During my life, I often come across very sort of blunt and sometimes a little bit harsh. That's certainly not my intention. I am genuinely trying to, spark discussion and thought. Let's see, is this going to work the way that I want it to? Yeah, there we go.
I have returned.
Hello. There we go. I'm just doing a little bit of editing work here to make things a little bit better to read. Okay, I've filled out most of this stuff. There we go. Like to debate about stuff, makes me think of stuff I wouldn't like. Yeah. Yeah. It's good to have. It's why I like having Coffee on the stream. When Coffee asked to come and join this, I was very enthusiastic to say hell yes, because I think both of us do our best work when we're working together. Either as one GM and one player, or in this sort of context.
We are two halves of an entire idiot.
We are. That is true. And when we're sharing that brain cell, man, we're unstoppable.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I have discovered is that there's a lot of text that I think I need to change around a little bit. On success, I think I need to make Call of the Void get column broken.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of that. Whoa, what's happened? What have I broken? There we go.
Oh.
Ooh. Yeah, it fits. It all fits. It all fits. It doesn't look awful. Yeah. So, AC, what is it? 15 plus? Oh no, because we're using the robe of eyes now. Maybe we just do set it like mage armor. It's 13 plus dex.
Yeah, we could go with that. Because really, the meat of this guy is in those temp HP.
It is, and he just has a lot of hit points. So one of the things we need to figure out is how many hit dice do we give him to get us to the average being around 240.
That's a good question. So let's take 240.
Because I've got there's a website that I use that I keep forgetting. There it is. 5e HP calculator. So if we go... because Warlocks use D8s. I think that's why I kept thinking of D8s, because I kept thinking of a Warlock.
Yeah.
So it's D8s. We go... My character is a level whatever Warlock. Which has a con modifier of... Oh, yeah, we need to figure that out. What constitution does this guy have? Probably average. Like 13, 14.
Yeah.
Let's go 14 because he's a scary person. Intelligence is going to be pretty high. I reckon like 16 maybe.
16 fits very well for this guy.
There we go. So we have a con of +2.
Good night, XD. Have a good one.
Later, XD. Sorry, I'm looking at different stuff. Leveling up a new character on Waven. Oh, you're finally breaking away from X-Defiant, huh? Thanks for stopping by, my man. I'll see you in next week's streams. Be there.
The VOD should be up, so definitely take a look at it.
Yeah, I'll be exporting this entire thing to the YouTube channel as well. Con modifier of 2. So right now, it's so funny. Because with a con modifier of 2, even a level 20 Warlock doesn't reach 240 hit points. Haven't played since last weekend? Oh, how could you? Average hit points. Custom creature. Oh, where is that thing that I was using? Was it this one? Nah. Monster hit dice calculator. I think it's this one. Yeah, it's this one. I'm going to bookmark this before I forget. And I'm going to pull it all the way up. So creature size is medium, which is a D8. Number of hit dice. Here we go. So this is the thing that I'm using. So if we just bump up the number of hit dice until we reach around about 240, oh boy, that's a lot of hit dice. So
that is a lot of hit dice.
So it would need 37 D8s with a con mod of 2 to reach the 240 average. I want to know, like, how much does even, like, a Baylor have?
Oh, Lord. Baylor?
A Baylor has 21 D12, although those are D12s.
Those are D12s.
So I wonder if we need to drop the amount of hit points Malzahar has and have his Void Shift be equal to his hit points.
I like it.
Because if we take that 240 and we just take, I don't know, 18d8, twice 117 is around about 240.
Right.
It's 234.
And for those of you new to D&D, Baylor is a legally distinct Balrog.
It is. It's just missing the G in its name.
Because Gary Gygax stole as much stuff as people steal from him.
Yeah, hobbits used to be called... Halflings used to be called hobbits in D&D, but because Gary Gygax and D&D didn't think that anyone was paying attention to them, but the Tolkien estate noticed.
They do be doing that.
I wonder if we go 19 hit dice.
Yeah? No, we can do 19.
19d8. So we are doing 19d8 times... what is that? 2 times 19. So plus 38. So presumably, when we roll 19d8 plus 38, we will be, a little bit above or below 240.
Okay.
Sorry, not 240. Or 123. So we go 123. And then we make Void Shift be equal to his maximum hit points. There we are. His speed, he hovers in the game. So I feel like he probably has a fly speed. Or maybe just flying and then brackets hover.
I mean, I don't really see the need to complicate it. Fly's cool.
Yeah,
Like, I'm sorry, if you're fighting a CR-15 creature and you don't have some method to deal with flight,
that's true.
you're doing something wrong.
Do we give him like 30-foot walking, if he wants to be on the ground, and 40-foot flying?
What's the speed of the fly spell?
That's a good question. Let's find out.
I think it's 50 feet.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's either 50 or 60. Fly spells. That's what we're looking for. It is 60.
60. So another good point that I believe we're making like every few seconds is you're never going to remember everything about this game.
Yeah.
Because one, it's so huge, and two, it's ever changing.
Mm-hmm.
Don't try. Don't stress yourself out. There's no point. We have books for a reason.
We do. Like, never be afraid to just look something up. It happens constantly in Magic the Gathering when we're playing, and someone sees, like, I'm sitting there and I'm waiting to take my turn, and I play Commander, and two players, it's always these two same players, and one of them says, "Hey, how does this work?" And the other one says, "I think it works like this." And I just put my hand up and I grab my phone and I say, "There's an easy way to figure out what the answer is." And they both look at me like, I don't think they're mad at me. I think the fun of it is to be like, oh, can we remember? It's like a challenge. It's classic nerd shit, right? We all do it. But I'm sitting here like, in this situation, we've already been here for an hour. Can we just look it up? Instead of just trying to figure it out based on what we can remember. Like, just look it up, guys. Don't be afraid to do that. It's totally fine. And if you're playing with people who ridicule you for looking stuff up, then you might be playing with the wrong people. Let's get these numbers sorted. 5, 6, 7. Arcana is based on intelligence, so that's a +8. And insight is based on wisdom, so that's a +7. Perception is a +7. Persuasion is a +10. I think that's Malzahar's stat block. Shall we make a voidling?
Yeah. Before we do, though.
Yes.
I am going to look at the bestiary.
Yes.
And I'm going to look at demons.
Demons.
Demons. They're real.
Very good, parents.
And then I am going to filter by CR, and we're going to look at CR5 demons.
Cool.
There is the Barlgura. There is the Kaku Spider Fiend. There's the spawn of Akishigal.
Whoa.
And the Tanaru. So we're looking for like a wall of hit points that doesn't do much damage, right?
Basically, yeah. Not like triple digits, I don't think. We're looking for like 80 to 90 hit points. If that even. Like maybe 70 to 90.
The Barlgura has 68 on average. 15 armor class. And I'm not saying we're going to use this, but
sure.
Like when you're doing minions, it's sometimes better to grab a stat block and just modify it. Because putting together a whole new unique creature is, I mean, we've spent what, 2.5 hours so far?
Yep.
So,
the Barlgura looks pretty good, yeah.
It does. I like the ability score array. They're not smart. Just nice.
True. Because I'm setting these things to chaotic neutral, like they don't care. They just want to num 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 num. They just want to eat stuff and kill stuff. They have no morality. They don't follow like codes or laws.
Definitely want to change up the resistances and immunities. I don't really mind the blind sight and dark vision.
Yeah, I agree. Like, they live in the void. They live in utter darkness. Of course they can see without seeing.
And then, what do you think? We're going to strip away the innate spell casting?
Yeah.
Cool.
So are we basically just carbon copying, but putting our own flavor in?
Yeah.
Sweet. Sounds good to me. Don't complicate it if you don't have to, but I always say keep it interesting. However, most of the interesting things are happening, of course, because of Malzahar.
Oh.
14 with a +2. Charisma of a 9 -1. Speed is 40. These things are going to be small-sized, I think. Because they're not that big. Well, actually, let's have a look. Let's have a look at this little video. They're like the size of a large dog. Maybe that is medium-sized, because dogs are medium-sized, aren't they?
Yeah. Large dog would be medium sized.
Yeah, so we'll make it a small, so we'll make it a medium size, and we'll have it what does a bulgur is? It's 8d10. So maybe we go with 10d8, perhaps, because its constitution is a +3, so that changes things. So that leaves its average at 75. That sounds about right to me.
Yeah.
Because this is mostly about feel right now. It feels about right. Medium void creature. AC is 15 natural armor. Sounds good to me. Hit points are at 75, which is 10d8 plus what's that, 30? Yes. Speed. Do we want to make it 40 feet? Or do we just keep it to 30? Because they're skittering little fellas. They are on 4 legs, though. 4-legged creatures traditionally go a lot faster than 2 legs.
I like 40. I like the idea that they're on average faster than a player.
Yeah, I also like the climb of the Bulgura. I think that's very suitable for the Voidling. Like, where is it? Like, look at these little things. Like, look at their legs.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, summon them again, buddy. Look at them. So you can imagine, like, if he goes on the offensive, they're, like, crawling up the walls. That would be very, very scary. Let's see. So, saving throws is Dex and Con. Yeah, makes sense to me. That's 3. So if it's 5 on the Bulgura, that means that its proficiency bonus is a +3. Yeah, definitely. Skills, perception, and stealth. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Vulnerabilities, what do you think? Radiant?
Yeah. Yeah, Radiant for these guys makes sense. Which is weird, because Malzahar is resistant.
That's true. He's stronger. He's the alpha.
Yeah. He's also the priority target for whatever's protecting him.
He is. Damage resistances. Maybe these things aren't immune to anything, but they are resistant to force and psychic.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just clear that out. Condition immunities. Charmed, definitely. You cannot turn these things against its master. Or frightened, maybe. Frightened as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Charmed and frightened makes a lot of sense for this.
Which reminds me, Malzahar being frightened. How do we feel about that?
So, I don't think that it's a problem for him to be frightened.
Yeah?
One, it doesn't actually impact his playstyle all that much.
That's true.
All that frightened forces you to do is move away from the source of your fear. You can still attack the source of your fear.
That's true.
So, like him running away in a fight actually makes a lot of sense for his playstyle.
It's actually quite funny because the frightened condition doesn't cause that. The fear spell does, I think. The frightened condition just means that you can't move closer to them. I think it's one of the spells specifically that sends you running.
Right.
So yeah, him backing up into a corner and be like, "My plans! No, you're interrupting my plans!" and then firing spells off. That's totally fine. Yeah, I agree with you. No innate spellcasting. They're CR5. That's fine. Languages, abyssal. That's it. That's what the only language. Well, do they even speak a language? Because I liked that about earlier editions. How, like, in 3.5, there are creatures that, like in 5th edition, they can speak a language, but in 3.5, it's like, why would a dog have the dog language? Why not just say it doesn't have a language?
I like the idea that they might have a language, but they can't speak. So like they
Oh,
have
that's right.
abyssal, they understand it, but they don't speak. So like you could give them verbal command.
That's right. That's right. All right. Multi-attack. This is basically going to be a claw. Because to me, they're little things. That looks like a claw. Claw, maybe a bite?
Mm-hmm.
The Voidling can use... What are its attacks going to be? Because I want to give it a cool attack. Like Force Impact or something.
Force impact.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Because how they attack, they literally... It always looks like they're just sort of slamming themselves into the target. But I think it's much more like they use their front legs to rend their target. So I think it's probably slashing damage.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's looking like. I'm rewatching the loop right now, and it's absolutely slashing. Maybe piercing, but
So maybe
slash.
like rending something. Rending slash.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they can just use rending slash twice.
Yeah.
I want to give
They
them...
don't need to be...
I want to give them kind of another, like... I don't know. Like something interesting that they do that's not just attacking, but I don't know what it would be.
If a creature that they are attacking is incapacitated for whatever reason, they can use their action to consume a limb and regain hit points.
Brutal.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you did it to Woodman, okay? You took my arm. I'm doing it to other people now.
That's true. That's true. I mean, well, I didn't take your arm. The Libra Unculus did.
Yeah, and who designed that?
Not me. Patrick Stewart did.
Oh, bleep that guy.
I think, like, because I also felt in the moment, I was like, you've had enough warning. You've been told, do not remove this stuff from here.
Hey, I got it out.
You did get it out, which is like, it's like the one win that you get, right?
Yeah.
Melee weapon attack. The attack bonus to hit is a +7. To hit. The range is reach 5 feet, 1 target. On a hit, it deals apparently 2d6.
Right on the money there, Jinx.
I guess the move costs an arm and a leg. It did. 2d6 slashing damage. And I think we're also going to put in if the target is afflicted by Malzahar's malefic visions, it also takes an additional 2d6 force damage. Because I've got that in Malzahar's stat block, but we're also going to put it into this stat block because people forget stuff.
Redundancy.
Yeah, you got to have some of it. I like how Monty Cook does their stuff. Like, they have their sidebars in their PDFs that are always hyperlinked. That's like, hey, do you want to look up this rule? Click on this, and it'll zip you to that place in the book.
Shout out to Monty Cook Games, by the way. You guys are awesome.
They make amazing stuff.
Monty specifically, you have been entertaining me personally since I was a small child, and I love you for it.
Oh, what sort of stuff did you consume of his?
All kinds of stuff. He was pivotal to 3.5. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He was one of the primary writers.
Mm-hmm.
And then Numenera. Oh, bless you for creating Numenera.
Yes.
What a gorgeous setting. Torment Tides of Numenera, if you haven't played it, and you want to learn and you want to see what Numenera looks like. Oof, gorgeous. Gorgeous game. Yeah, I want to give this something, but I don't know what. Maybe we give them like a ranged attack. And it like blasts just like a bolt of energy out of their eyes. Like eye beams, psychic eye beams.
I like it.
Call it like Void Strike or something. Void Strike sounds cool.
Yeah, it does. Oh.
And this is straight up gonna be ranged attack, deal some damage, extra damage if they're afflicted by malefic visions, yada yada yada. This is a ranged weapon attack, even though it's not like a bow or an arrow or whatever, it's just how the game is coded. Range, let's say 60 feet. One target on a hit. It deals 2d6 force damage. If the target is afflicted by Malzahar's malefic visions, it also
does more damage.
Not it also takes an additional. That's redundant. It takes an additional. There we go. Lovely. Boom. It's a voidling.
It is a voidling.
Do we need to give it any kind of traits? No, I don't think so.
So, I'm not sure if Jinx would want me to say anything about this or not, but I'm going to anyway because they impressed me yesterday or the day before. I'm not sure. They are a bit of an artist. And I'll be showing you, if Jinx is okay with it, what they designed.
I would love to see art. I love art. I love seeing art. The amount of times I commented on the art of Oaken yesterday while I was streaming it.
Oh, that was so good.
What a good game. Alright, let's go over this. So let's go over the monster that we've created. It is Malzahar, Prophet of the Void. He's a medium void humanoid, chaotic evil. He's an armor class of 15 based on mage armor. He has 123 average hit points, but of course you can roll 19d8 plus 38. He's 30-foot walking speed if he deigns to walk the ground as mortals do, or he can fly up to 60 feet per round. He's low strength, middling constitution and dexterity and wisdom, pretty good intelligence, but his charisma is off the charts. His saving throws are charisma plus 10, constitution plus 7. He is quite skilled in arcana and persuasion, and pretty good at insight and perception, and because he has a robe of eyes, he has advantage on perception checks. He is resistant to radiant damage, he is immune to psychic damage, and he is immune to being charmed. Thanks to his robe of eyes, he has dark vision of 120 feet. He can see invisible and ethereal things within 120 feet, and he has a passive perception of 17. He speaks, reads, and writes common and abyssal, or void, or whatever you want to call it. He's a CR 15 with 13,000 experience points to dole out. His passive makes him super tanky. Gives him an extra layer of protection. And while he has these hit points, these temporary hit points, he is immune to all conditions. You just can't affect him by... you can already not affect him by mind control, but you can't fear him, you can't grapple him, restrain him, nothing. But once you chunk down those temporary hit points, he's in danger. Gaze into the Void is a wonderful meta ability that I think is quite fun, where at the beginning of a combat round, the GM points at a player and says, hey you, write down what you're going to do for this round, and then give it to me, and you have to try and do this. And Malzahar gets to come into this combat round with that knowledge, because he can gaze into the Void. If he decides that he wants to succeed on a saving throw, he can kill a Voidling. He can just sacrifice it, and he will instantly succeed. He can use a special kind of ranged bolt attack. He can stab with Nashal's Tooth, or he can use Nashal's Tooth and Void Bolt after using one of his other actions. That's the important part. His dagger is a magical dagger, which we do actually need to stat out just what it does. It's basically just a +2 magical dagger that deals psychic damage. Void Bolt is a ranged attack. These are his 2 bread and butter abilities, but Void Bolt, if there are any Voidlings on the field, whatever he's targeted with Void Bolt is going to have some Voidlings running after them. And if they get within range of you after their little movement, they get to attack you. Give us a dramatic reading of a few more of his abilities, my friend.
One moment,
Mm-hmm.
and I will do that. I am just returning some messages.
Oh, jeezy.
Okay, so where are we starting here?
Call of the Void.
Call the Void.
So what does it do, and what is the intent of what these things are meant to accomplish?
I can't see it, actually.
Mm?
Where's that?
On the right.
On the right, but... yeah, I don't see it.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, it's because you were scrolled down. There we go. Call the Void. Malzahar chooses 2 points within 20 feet of each other that he can see within 120 feet of him, creating 2 portals at each of those points. Fills the space they're created in. Those points and the spaces between those points become areas of silence as the spell. When Malzahar takes this action, any creature that is not Malzahar or one of Malzahar's Voidlings, I think we can simplify that to void creatures at this point, since we've went ahead and specified void in his name.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yep.
Any creature that is not a void creature within the area of this ability must succeed on a DC 18 dexterity saving throw, taking 48 points of force damage and 48 points of psychic damage, or half as much on a success.
That's bad. That's a lot of damage.
Yeah, this is your mage killer.
Yes, it is.
Because you drop this, they get swarmed by voidlings. They're done. I don't care if they're the tankiest mage out there. They are done.
Oh, actually, I forgot. Malefic Visions. The refresh. I forgot to put in the refresh to it. Let's see.
When it refreshes on its own.
Yeah, it refreshes on its own when one of his other abilities that isn't Malefic Visions hits them.
I like it.
Because we haven't set a duration either.
End of next turn, unless extended.
Yeah. The duration of Malefic Visions is extended by an additional by 1 round if the afflicted creature is hit by one of because it's not his attacks that do it, it's his abilities. So he needs to be hit by Call of the Void or like Nether Grasp. So Call of the Void is the main one. Void or Nether Grasp. Yeah. Cool. And I think that's better. Malefic Visions is the longest one, but it needs to be. There might be some editing that we can give it, though. I love the Banished. The Banished is so good.
Mm-hmm.
Do carry on. What were we up to?
We were up to Malefic Visions.
Yeah! Tell us about it. What does
Malzahar.
this thing do?
So, yeah, it creates these psychic disruptions in the target's mind, causing them to take damage, psychic damage, and yeah, if they're reduced to 0 hit points while under the effect of it, the void takes them.
Oh, yeah.
And that's beautiful, man.
Mm-hmm. It's gorgeous. I love that addition. And Voidlings that hit someone under the effects of it deals extra damage. It is absolutely... Malefic Visions and Call of the Void, oh my god. In League of Legends, the game, you can deal a colossal amount of damage because the Voidlings are easy to kill, interestingly, in League of Legends. They're very easy to kill. But if you don't kill them, you're in trouble because they start dealing a lot of damage.
How much damage can a 10th level fighter put out per round?
I have no idea.
Let's do some math.
Because they can attack twice. They
at 10th level?
Oh, I thought it was 11th level they get 3 attacks.
They have the extra attack and they have action surge, right?
Oh, they do have action surge, yes.
Okay, so 3 attacks. Let's say they're using a greatsword. Let's just go for ridiculous damage.
Yep.
It's at least a +1.
Mm-hmm. They probably have a +3 or +4 strength bonus by this point.
Yeah. So let's say 2d6 +5. Let's argue +5
Sure.
and do that 3 times. They can put out a maximum of 17 times 3, whatever the heck that is. I can't math, as I said today. I'm sleepy.
Yeah, it is. They have extra attack for 3 attacks at 11th level. So yeah, they can hit 4 attacks in 1 round with action surge at 10th level.
So we're looking at 51 damage.
Mm-hmm.
So a turn, maybe 2, and you take out one of the voidlings.
Yeah.
They last just long enough to serve their purpose if they're being targeted.
Yeah.
I think the balancing there is perfect.
Yeah. Because of course you can always crowd control them. You know, you can fireball them, you can lightning bolt them, you can dominate them. Actually, no, they can't be dominated. You can stun them, freeze them, slow them, do whatever you want to them. They're not immune to many things. They're only immune to being frightened and charmed. But you can burn them. Everyone knows that the best condition to apply in D&D is the 0 hit point condition.
Yeah.
And I mean, who's really using force and psychic damage that isn't like a bard? Well, wizards with magic missile, I guess. That's true. I cast gun.
I do. And when I play a barbarian, I cast iron.
That's true. I cast fist. So that's the creatures. Let's just do out a quick Malzahar's equipment, because he is holding equipment.
Okay, so Nashor's Tooth. What kind of stats did you give that? No.
It's just a +2 dagger that deals 2d6 extra psychic damage so far. Although I think because it's really quick, I think that when you're only wielding, whether you're wielding Nashor's Tooth with another light weapon or not, you can attack twice with Nashor's Tooth.
Okay. What other kinds of gear is he gonna have?
Let's find out. So let's go Nature's Tooth. What is it? Prerequisites, right? No, just requires attunement by a basically anyone with the spellcasting trait, I think.
Yeah.
Just if
or
you
pact magic.
pact magic, yeah, with the spellcasting or pact magic feature, yeah. Let's see. This is a god. How do they? I haven't designed a magic item for years now. Eyes of Robe. What am I talking about?
An Eyes of Robe.
An Eyes of Robe. So this is a very rare, I think. Very rare. Requires attunement by a creature with the spellcasting or pact magic feature. Yeah, there we go. This dagger is carved from the tooth of a colossal void creature.
Also known as a Floridian.
A Floridian?
Yeah.
Colossal.
Florida man.
Shedded tooth of the colossal void worm known as Baron Nashor. How is like a magic weapon described? Because I haven't looked at one of these for a long, long time.
Okay, what's a famous magic weapon? Black Rage.
Like a Holy Avenger?
Yeah, Holy Avenger.
Let's see. There we go. Okay. Okay. Oh, that's right. You gain a blah 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 blah. You gain a +2 bonus to attack and damage rolls made with this magic weapon. When you hit a creature with it, you deal an additional 2d6 psychic damage. Whether you are wielding this dagger with another light weapon or not, you can make 2 attacks with Nashor's Tooth. As part of your attack action without losing the benefit of your ability score modifier to the damage of the second attack. Because that's the good thing about it, because usually with 2-weapon fighting, your second attack that you make with like a bonus action with the light weapon, you only deal the base damage. You don't get to add your ability score damage to the damage. Whereas with this, you can attack twice with it, or an additional time with it using your attack action. So I think we need to change that. You can make an additional attack with Nashor's Tooth as part of your attack action without losing the benefit of your ability score. I think applying all applicable bonuses as you would with a regular weapon attack. There we go. Very good. Because it's fast, deals extra damage. Yep. It's a psychic dagger. Stab, 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 stab. So you ask a good question. What else could he have?
I'm sorry. I was just sent a very lovely stat block
Okay.
for a Floridian.
Ah.
I will pass that along. Sorry.
This is actually, I think I need to maybe push this into a smaller font. Yeah, I think this needs to be carved down because the bottom of this block is sort of cut off. So I'll do a little bit of editing before I post this up for people to download and share and things. I'll do a little bit of just the regular everyday formatting that I like to do.
You gonna put images in?
I don't know. Maybe at the bottom, like of what Malzahar looks like and what a voidling looks like. I'll pretty it up a little bit after the stream.
Maybe Nashor's.
Yeah, picture of Nashor's tooth and everything. Yeah.
Mm.
What do you think? Is he gonna have any? Nashor's tooth can function as a spell focus.
Yeah.
God, how Nashor's tooth can function as a spell focus. Just yeah, that's fine. I think also in the editing of Malefic Visions, I think we need to swap this around. There we go. Having, like, what the damage is and everything first, like, what does it do, and then have the after effects written down after it. And I think we might be able to get rid of this when a voidling hits a creature afflicted by malefic visions, because when the GM goes to look at the voidling to say, okay, this voidling's going to attack you, that's where they're going to read the, oh, hey, if the target's afflicted by blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So I don't think we need it in malefic visions, we just need it in the voidling stat block. See, there we go, we're now pulling this up a bit more. That's good. Cool. Yeah, we'll be able to change that around a little bit if we want to. Perfect. I don't know if he has any other magic items on him. I would think maybe like a ring. Well, actually, I wonder... Because let's have a look at these other, like, special items. Oh, I remember the Zarot portal. Oh, that was an old one. Let's see if we can... Zarot portal. It was an item, they removed it. It's an item that gives you stats, but then also you can spawn a void gate at the target location, and every 4 seconds it would summon a void spawn that travels down the lane, and like adds to the creeps and things. The first and every 4th void spawn deals damage equal to 15% of your maximum health, so, you know, like every now and then a much more powerful one would happen. But people found a way to basically exploit this item, and the designers were like, this is too powerful. And they removed it. Oh, this is an interesting one. I never saw this. Time-worn Talisman of Ascension. That's cool. A point runner, yeah. So yeah, Zarot Portal is kind of cool. I wonder if we could make that an item, like it's a way to be able to summon your own little void spawn. like once you kill him, you get this, and it's like a lesser form of his ability where you can summon like one voidling under your control.
That's rather potent. Because while the minions, in this case the voidlings, seem, rather inconsequential compared to Malzahar, against a rank and file monster, um, that they'll hold their own. They're better than almost any companion that you can get
Yeah.
normally.
What if we make it like you can summon one once a day, and it dies?
Yeah.
Like it returns to the void at the end of the day,
Or at sunrise.
or sunrise. Yeah, sunrise makes sense. The Zerot portal. This is definitely a very rare. Requires attunement. I wonder if we pull alignment into it. Like, you have to be a chaotic creature to attune to this, to use it.
By a chaotic spellcaster. I really like that you have to have some innate magic to pull something out of the void.
Yeah. So what does this thing even look like? It's like a gem, basically. This... this gemstone seems to warp and undulate when it isn't being directly observed. I like putting that really sort of otherworldly stuff into it. Like when it's just in the corner of your eye, you could swear that it's moving.
Dun dun. Okay.
Enhanced protections from hostile magic. So, because the item gives magic resistance and armor, we're not going to worry about armor because there's enough AC boosting items in the game already. I wonder if this like, when you would take magic damage, you take one less die of damage to a minimum of 1 die. Like if someone hits you with like a 2d10 firebolt, you only take 1d10. But maybe we only make this work like once a day.
Yeah. So who all do we still have in the chat?
Yeah, who we got? Who we got left? Oh, boo! I missed an auto mod thing. The Wisebot didn't like the term "too gay."
Oh.
That's fine. I can permit that term next time it's used. I need 3 monitors at this point, especially when I'm doing these design streams.
Or you could just make me a moderator and I could do that stuff for you.
That's true. Let's see. Can I figure out how to do that?
Just for clarity's sake, I'm not being a jerk to him about that. I used to be a moderator, and then I got locked out of that Twitch account.
How do I make you a moderator?
So now I give him guff.
Manage suspicious user?
I mean, that's right on the nose, bro. I am a shifty looking cow.
You are. Let's see. Here we go. So, mod, username, coffee merc. Whoops. There we go.
Mod view.
You're a mod now.
Awesome.
Basically,
I'm not watching.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure you know what I do and don't want. Like, I don't care if the term "too gay" is used. That's fine. But it's if people come in here just like swearing and being awful to each other.
Yeah. Obviously.
Okay, so once per day, when you would take damage from a spell attack or from an effect that would that requires you to make a saving throw to avoid damage, you instead take one less die of damage to a minimum of 1 die. Additionally, once per day, you can use your, I think your action, because if it's a bonus action, it flaunts the action economy too much.
Yeah.
Because you're adding a whole other creature to your own action economy, to your side's action economy. You can use your action to summon a voidling. To summon a voidling. The voidling is under your control, which you can mentally command using your free action on your turn. The voidling takes its turn right before or after you on your turn and returns to the void after 1 hour has passed or it has been reduced to 0 hit points. The abilities of Rot Portal can be used once used again after the next sunrise. Cool. I need to column break this. There we go. It's kind of long. Can probably do a little bit of... It can probably do with a little bit of formatting, but I can do that. That's fine. Like I said, I'll pretty it up before I post it. But that's it. I think we're done. I think we got everything. I think the only thing that I would probably change is this. Putting these on a separate line, because otherwise they sort of meld together. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Oh, I think we can call it there. That was very good. That was a full, nearly 3 hours. That sounds about right for the amount of work that we were doing. So, I will be posting this to the Discords that I'm in, my Twitter or X account. Feel free to use it. It's yours. I don't own it. I don't own the property. Neither do you. You can change this however the hell you want. If you think Coffee and I were off our rocker and wrong and stupid and dumb, you can just change this.
I have a bit of an announcement to make.
Mm-hmm.
The Dungeon Crawler Guild, the next time we do one of these streams, is offering a giveaway.
Oh, we are?
We are being sponsored by Bad Cat Farm.
Okay.
And one of the items from our catalog will be given to someone who can answer a riddle in chat.
Ooh. That's very good. I like that a lot. I'll let you handle the logistics on that. Otherwise, I will be running speaking of, another one of these streams. Every Friday for me, Thursday for a lot of those in the US. On my Ko-Fi account, you can see in the bottom right corner of the stream. Head there, and I will be posting after the stream a poll for people to vote on the next character from some MOBA, because MOBAs are ripe with those sorts of characters. I'm going to have one from League of Legends, one from Heroes of the Storm, one from Dota 2. Those are my 3 MOBAs of choice, and they have very, very cool characters. Vote on the one that you want to see next. Coffee and I work on homebrewing into a 5th edition stat block, just like you've seen here today. And what I'm going to be doing is the previous ones that weren't chosen, Outworld Destroyer and Artanis, are going to remain on the poll. Those are from Heroes of the Storm and Dota 2. I will be picking a different character from League of Legends to go into that 3rd spot. And until the character is chosen, they will remain on the poll until they're chosen. So, we can call it there. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone who is still here, and especially those who stopped by a little bit earlier.
Yes, thank you.
And thank you very much thank you to Coffee for joining me on this wonderful...
A new follower.
It's a follower. They're following us. Help.
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 I'm being followed.
Ah!
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jinx Demon, for the follow. Thank you.
It's a harmless demon.
It's a harmless demon. For now. They're just a little bit jinxed. Thank you, Coffee, for joining me. It's always a pleasure to hang out with you, my man.
Oh, heck yeah, dude. Anytime.
We'll be able to hang out a little bit after this. But otherwise, that is the stream. Look out for these links going up. I'll be exporting this whole stream to my YouTube channel. Just for archival purposes and things. I've got a few others over there. If you have like 4 hours to spare and want to sit here watching and listening to us do this with other characters. But other than that, have a fantastic morning time, daytime, evening time, nighttime, dream time, whatever time it is for you. And of course, most important of all, look after others and look after yourself.